Tuesday, April 12th, 5:35, City Hall, 790 Homestead Boulevard, Homestead, Florida. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Burgess,
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos, Councilman Maldonado, Councilman Shelley,
Here.
Councilman Williams,
Here.
Vice Mayor Wallman,
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. A motion to approve the minutes from February 8th, 2011.
So moved, Mayor.
Second. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, item B. Motion to place car 111 on a special call agenda for the first annual Cinco de Mayo Festival.
Move it.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff report.
Mayor, this basically is to approve the city's co-sponsorship and waiver of the usage of fees in the amount of $610 for the Losner Park facility and banner fees for the festival, which would be on May 7th, 2011.
Okay, council, questions? No questions at this point, council? Okay, questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Tab 3. Entertain a motion to place car number 85 on the council agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
Mayor, this is an agreement to provide a monthly retainer fee of $17,131.00 for Eric Stetton, and would receive additional compensation at the rate of $125 per billable hour for such matters that require extraordinary time, including trials, appeals, and complex legal matters, but only with prior approval of the city manager. The cost of this agreement, excluding the cost of the hourly billing described above, is $205,572.96.
Okay, questions or comments from council?
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
I've had a dialogue with Mr. Eric, and we've come to a better understanding of what the breakdown of his retainer fees are. And I told him this year that maybe he needs to consider next year looking at it, examining it a little bit closer, but I will support it for this fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, please. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I just wanted to tell you that I've worked for years with Eric, and it's been an honor, a real honor and a pleasure to do so. You've saved us so much money over the years, and I support you completely and totally. Just want to put that on the record.
Okay. Any final questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Next item, tab 5, motion to place car 106 on the council agenda, Neighborhood Stabilization Program. Motion from Mr. Burgess, second.
Mr. Mayor, I think we skipped one here.
We did?
The D.
D. Okay. Motion to place car 87 on council agenda, Professional Services. Is that not D?
That is D.
Yes.
Okay. Tab 4. Motion to move it forward? Okay, second.
Yeah, I motioned it. Nobody heard me.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a second from Vice Mayor? Motion by Mr. Burgess and second from Vice Mayor.
That's right.
Staff report?
Mayor, on July 26, 2006, the Development Services Director signed an agreement with Calvin Giordano and Associates to provide transportation, planning, and engineering services in a defined scope of services focused on providing data and analysis to update the city's concurrency management system. The study was completed and an invoice with a total amount was submitted on August 16, 2006. The city has not disagreed that the services were needed or authorized. However, a purchase order was never requested and approval for the amount was never obtained from the council. The work product was researched and does exist. Staff is recommending that the Mayor and Council approve the attached resolution authorizing payment to Calvin Giordano Associates in the amount of $43,530 for past services rendered to the city related to traffic engineering and concurrency analysis.
Okay, I have a question on that. The list of of benefactors, from Portofino right on down to Rosen and Rosen West. Wasn't this covered by cost recovery? I mean, everything else wasn't. Seems like that went through Sherry Kamali's office.
No, sir, this was not covered by cost recovery, and I believe the main reason was it wasn't application specific. It was, cost recovery is typically paid for, an applicant comes in and...
I know the process.
So this was not. This was not related to one application. It was related to city transportation planning as a whole, to put the concurrency management system, or to update the concurrency management system, which we, I guess, measured the impacts of the individual developments against.
It's, in your professional opinion, it's something we needed at that time?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions from council?
A comment?
Yes, please,
I
Mr.
trust
Burton.
that, through the chair to the manager, I trust that we now have made sure that RFPs will be taken care of and
Yes, and in fact,
timely payment.
the employee here acted without authority. In fact, even if the manager had signed this, the manager didn't have the authority because of the threshold amount. So obviously, that's not something that should have happened.
Thank you.
Okay, was there another question?
I just have a comment.
Sure, please.
Why did it take so long?
Well, it appears as if this thing was kicking around, and I think I don't want to speculate as to why it wasn't processed further. I know since I've been here, we kept looking at the documents and trying to figure out how this was authorized, and the conclusion that we came to was that staff didn't have the authority to authorize it, and yet I think it was reasonable for the firm to think that they had governmental authority because they had a document that was signed by, an official within the city. It's just that that official did not have the authorization to sign the document.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Manager, and for the record, let's make this clear. This happened back on July 26, 2006.
Correct.
2006. So it gets reported correctly. And let me drop the big question since we opened it up. Is tell me this firm that we're paying is not a former firm that Ms. Kamali worked for. Tell me that she did not work for this firm prior to this $40-something thousand, or ever worked for this firm.
I do not believe she ever worked for this firm.
Well, I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I'm going to ask you to check it out, Mr. Manager.
We sure will. I was not aware. I hadn't heard that before, but
Well, she worked for several engineering firms prior to coming here. Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Okay, item carries. Back to tab 5, motion to place car number 106 on the council agenda, Neighborhood Stabilization Program, NSP. Motion to move forward? Thank you. Thank you. Staff report?
Mayor, staff is recommending that the mayor and council approve the attached neighborhood stabilization program policies and procedures. The updates are necessary to reflect current U.S. housing and urban development guidelines and compliance requirements. I'd like to ask Jan Smith, our finance director, just to kind of give you a 2-minute synopsis of what the changes are so that you're aware of what's in there.
Thank you.
Basically, the changes are mostly just some cleanup language, like the manager said, to ensure compliance. The one significant change is how we're awarding the grant to the not-for-profit organization that is going to monitor the low-income housing that we're required to provide with the award.
Did we ever get any kind of, I think we got a little rebuttal back from why we never received any other Phase 2 or Phase 3 money. I don't want to confuse the issue. I don't know if it's Phase 2 or Phase 3, but you did a great job, and I can tell you, when I got elected 15 months ago, before I walked in office, I saw you on TV, being interviewed on this whole process, and I want to say 90% of the municipalities that got this money didn't do a very good job. And that's one of the things I asked the first month I was here of Jan, please don't let us down on this. And she went out there and put all of it to work. So I thank you for that. But do you have any idea why they didn't check?
The NSP3 funds were awarded based on a formula, and we were just under the cap of the formula, so they denied giving us any money. Now they have some extra money they'd like to give out, but Apparently, they're having a little bit of trouble getting their NSP amended, given all the budget hoopla going on in the federal government right now.
Yeah, that federal government hoopla is tough. Really tough. I had an entire trip planned. Well, the trip's still going on tomorrow. But because the federal government was going to shut down, the entire Air Force Base was going to shut down, believe that or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they had everybody on standby to just not come to work.
Yep.
I said, you got to be kidding me. So that's going to leave me short a little bit, but we'll prevail.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions on tab 5, the stabilization program, neighborhood stabilization? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Okay, tab 6, motion to place car 109, waste management recycling agreement.
Move it.
Got a motion, second by the Vice Mayor. Staff report.
Mayor, staff is recommending the mayor and council approve the attached resolution and agreement with Waste Management, Inc. of Florida in accordance with the Miami-Dade County request for proposal 545 and contract number 545B for provision of recycling processing services. This agreement is eligible for recognition as exempt from formal competitive bidding pursuant to City Code Section 2-411.1A5. This agreement provides for an establishment of a floor of zero cost to the city for services provided by Waste Management, and establishing a revenue share program whereby the city would receive 50% of the revenues gathered from final disposition of materials.
Yeah, I want to give, some applause to Julio because he worked hard on this, and we went from, I'm going to use a round number, $35,000, $40,000 a month paying Waste Management to now paying zero. We pay zero, and that's through a little competitive process. And they woke up, I think, and they offered us a deal we can't refuse. The question I was going to ask to you, if you don't mind, Mr. Manager, to Mr. Bria, is this a 2-year contract? I read most of it. I just wasn't clear on how long the contract was set for.
It's actually a 4-year contract.
Okay, but I thought we discussed it too. And is this, of course, they would love for you to break it at any time. Is that?
Yeah.
Basically?
Well, they're here if they want to
Did I hear someone? Are they here?
talk about that. We have a representative here.
Please, sir.
Good evening. I'm Jason Neal. I'm with Waste Management, Inc. of Florida. The term is through September 2015. That coincides with our term with Miami-Dade County, from which this contract is based. And so that's why it's roughly a 4-year term.
4-year term. Because originally I heard through the original discussion it was a 2-year term. And there's a reason why we moved to the 4, Julio?
Well, if we want to go with the county contract, that's when it expires. So it's a 4-year contract.
All right. Thank you.
The original contract actually was 7 years, but we started with the county a couple years ago. So this is the remainder term. So the 4-year term is actually less than what we contracted with the county, but the timing will run concurrent.
Okay. Well, thank you. Tell the powers to be that we said thank you for the zero. Bill.
Mr. Mayor?
Our pleasure.
Yes.
Just a little more information. That is the term of the county contract, but you're not obligated to take, I don't know whether Waste Management would agree to it, but you're not obligated to take the term of the county contract. The agreement that we're entering into with between them does modify the county contract in other ways, so we're not just taking the county contract just the way it is. For instance, the county contract has a termination for convenience clause, and the contract with us, that clause has been removed. So there have been modifications to the county contract. So I think you do have the flexibility to do a shorter term. It's obviously it would be up to them as to whether they want to accept it, but the city's not obligated to take the term.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Any further questions from council?
I've got a comment, if I could, because I think there's been some misinformation put out in the community that this is a new facility that's being built out there by the parks, and it's not. So if you could tell us how long, I mean, to me, it looks cleaner out there now than it ever has. They've got the berm up and the landscape, and I remember when they used to receive mainly building trash and stuff out there from contractors. And I think it looks better, but there's been some misinformation that this is a new dump and that we're just starting out there. Maybe if Mr. Brea or if the gentleman from Waste Management wanted to just give a brief history so that the facts, that the real facts are out there and not some misinformation that unfortunately has been put out.
I can comment on that, if I may. Waste Management has been operating that facility for several years. In its heyday, it was primarily for construction debris. Most of that work has disappeared. There's not a lot of construction activity going on. We made it available to Miami-Dade County in 2008 as a transfer station for commingled recycling materials. And those materials are delivered there and immediately removed, and we bring them to our Ruta recycling plant, which is in Pembroke Pines. So the materials that Homestead would be delivering are also commingled recycling, no construction debris. It's a very clean, efficient operation. Mr. Brea has been out there. We get inspected all the time from the state, from Durham. So if anyone would like to take a look at the facility, they're certainly more than welcome to.
Just one more follow-up. And were you able to answer Dr. Trantham's questions? I know he had some questions about how big the facility would end up and things like that, and I just wanted to keep...
Yes, we did speak before the meeting, but again, this has nothing to do with the construction debris that gets piled up. These materials are delivered and removed immediately, so it's kind of apples and oranges what we're talking about.
Just trying to make sure everybody's clear and that this isn't going to be another Mount Trashmore out there, and that the facility has been working for years, and it's been working, as far as I know, as a clean facility. I know the roads are cleaner out there now than they used to be.
And ultimately, the materials do go to our Pembroke Pines facility, which is just about, I believe, 2.5 miles over the county line, and from there they're sorted out. We have a single-stream MRF, which is the largest in the southeast. We do have an educational center right there in the MRF that we make available for tours. So if anyone from the city or community or a civic group or school would like to take a tour, we'd be happy to offer that. We do have an outreach coordinator, and I'd be happy to set that up for anybody, as we do for the county as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Okay, tab 7. Motion to place car 105 on council agenda, purchase of 3 sets of mowing equipment. Motion to move it on?
So moved, Mayor.
Second? Thank you. Staff report?
Mayor, as directed by the council on February 8, 2011, the Parks and Recreation Department staff is moving forward to obtain 3 inmate crews, vehicles, and mowing equipment to help enhance the current beautification. This equipment will ensure consistent and uniform level of services by picking up trash, palm fronds, shopping carts, miscellaneous debris, removing advertising signs from easements, etc. Staff is recommending that the mayor and council approve the purchase of 3 sets of mowing equipment in the amount of $31,739.50, funded through People's Transportation Plan. And one thing I'd like to disclose is, with all the changes potentially in the state, with the potential privatization of the prisons, we're still not sure who ultimately we'll be dealing with, but we're hoping that either way we're going to have these crews, whether it's through this state agency or through the private firm. And so we just wanted to at least get the process going, and if we find that there's any problems in between, we obviously will let you know.
Okay, questions or comments? I have to ask one for the record. Don't get mad at me, Dennis. Did we try to buy this locally?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, can you repeat the question, Mayor?
Did we try to buy this equipment, this lawn mowing maintenance equipment locally?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I gotta ask.
Yes, sir. We did put it through local vendors, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Item 8, motion to place car number 98 on the council agenda, amendment to the bid 201005 for additional purchased property. Motion to move it on?
So moved, Mayor.
Second? Thank you. Staff report?
Mayor, this is the final house to be purchased and rehabilitated with the Neighborhood Stabilization Program grant award. The bid was awarded prior to the closing on this property in order to expedite the program. Quotes, summaries in your backup. Staff recommends the mayor and council approve an amendment in the amount of $18,315 to bid 201005, Neighborhood Stabilization Program, Housing Rehabilitation, Demolition, and Replacement Project for the rehabilitation of an additional purchased property.
Questions from council? I have one, so we don't end up back on TV. Tell me it's not a foot by a foot. The last piece we bought was a foot by a foot. Jordan knows that, Jeff. I mean, that reality.
No, this is a residential house. I think it's probably 17 or 1,800 square feet.
Okay, good. Okay, further questions? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Okay. Let's see. Motion to place 104, car 104 on council agenda to purchase 3 F-250 Ford pickup trucks.
I'll move it.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Staff report?
Mayor, this is also in tandem with the inmate crew program. Staff is recommending the mayor and council approve the attached resolution for the purchase of 3 2011 Ford F-250 4x2 vehicles, 3 quarter-ton pickup from Duval Ford in the amount of $74,952 funded through People's Transportation Plan. And this request is in accordance with Florida Sheriff's Association Contract 10-180907 and with Section 2-411.1A5 of the City of Homestead Code exemption from competitive bidding.
Okay, thank you. Questions and comments from council? All in favor?
Aye.
No. Nays? Motion carries. Next item. Tab 6, motion to place car number 82 on council agenda, action on, I love it, skate park equipment.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
Mayor, this is, staff is recommending the mayor and council authorize the sale of skate park equipment through a means of online auction in accordance with the City of Homestead Code, Section 2-440 surplus property. Council at our last meeting had asked for the staff's recommendations in terms of what would replace it, and I think in your backup material you'll find they're requesting basketball courts with a projected cost of $25,000.
Thank you. Questions from council? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Mr. John.
Go ahead.
I'll go first.
You
No?
go.
Okay. All right. Well, this is personal to me because, you know, I just want to make sure everybody understands the whole scope of this so-called park, because it was never intended to be a park. It was never voted on to be a park. Actually, according to minutes from February of 2009, this particular equipment was scheduled to go into Blakely Park because the money was out of the forfeiture funds. And Chief, I don't know, I know this was the manager's decision at the time, but when you're spending it out of forfeiture funds, that was the right place for it to go, correct?
Wrong one.
Correct.
That was correct.
That was correct.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm thinking. I like those kind of answers. And it's just important to me because I think some of the people in the community were a little confused as to why they would buy this equipment and then why we would now be wanting to sell this equipment. And I can tell you, it was a puzzlement to me as well because, oh gosh, I keep doing that. I'm so sorry. Like I said, as of February 10th, 2009, it was suggested that it go into Blakely Park, and then on February 17th, they talk about, there was a resolution, I think it was a resolution. Was it a resolution? Sorry, yes, it was a resolution. And they talk about it costing approximately $20,000, and then they talk about the installation of it to be approximately $35,000, and then we end up spending, what, $80-some thousand after the forfeiture funds of $20,000, and it was inadequate equipment in the first place. That's why Coconut Creek was selling it, because it wasn't up to par. It wasn't safe. It didn't meet safety requirements. So we tried it, or they tried it, and it just didn't work. When we had our last election, we had a different Parks and Recs director, and a different city manager, a different staff. Julio, you were here. And Marlene, I think you were here for a portion of that. But I can tell you that it's dangerous. We've had so much crime over there. I mean, it's just been terrible. And it's seriously a liability to the city. So that's why this skate facility, I refuse to call it a skate park because it was never a park. And how it ended up at Harris Field, I don't know. And how it ended up with a sign that said skateboard park when it's not a park still puzzles me. So it was a mistake. It was a huge mistake that it was purchased in the first place. I know it wasn't Chief's fault. I know it was just, you were told that it had to come out of forfeiture. You just gave them money. And so now it's time to put it at auction, see if we can get someone to buy it, and see if we can recoup something. And I think the basketball courts are a very good thing. I know when we have Whitcomb Park finished, we'll have some basketball courts there, but we're really in need of basketball courts. I mean, people jump fences to the schools to get in to play basketball, and it's trespassing, and Chief, you see it all the time, I'm sure, you know, but basketball is a very popular sport. Audubon Park, our basketball court is full constantly, and we only have a half court. So I think that would be a good thing. I reach out to my colleagues to understand why we want to do away with this equipment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess?
Thank you, Mayor. Through you to staff, and Dennis may or may not have the answer, or somebody. The question that I had is, well, if it's the place needs oversight, then why don't we put a staff member there for whatever hours? And I say it's too much money. You know, that we're on a limited budget here as we are, and the next have been, and we probably will be for a couple of years until we get some value back in our homes, unfortunately. But I was wondering if Dennis could maybe put some kind of round figure on that, and then maybe if Priscilla tells us how much the insurance is just for that place per year, or what we need to carry, just so people have an understanding of what it cost us what it would cost us if we were to try to salvage it and keep it going, the extra expense and stuff that it would put on the city. I guess through the manager to Dennis.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Mr. Burgess, it was going to cost me about $51,000 annually for someone to be stationed there all day long. The problem is that most of our problems there was, of course, you do have to get an ID. They would have to come to Parks and Rec, and they wouldn't come there. They would just jump the fence and play, and then we had to kick them out, or the police department would have to kick them out. But my annual fee would be about $52,000 for someone to be stationed there at all times. And right now in our budget, I don't think we can handle it.
Right. No. And I've been there several times with my son, who swears he's the best skateboarder in the world, even though he's 4 years old. And the 4 or 5 times that I went there that weren't city functions going on, we did have trouble with the older kids and the other things. So I see the side of what we have and why it would be necessary to have somebody there full time. And perhaps even when we did have a person there full time from the outside vendor, there still were problems because they didn't respect. The police still had to go, as the chief could attest to. They were called on daily occasions to show up over there, and so I'm fully in support of doing this. My one last question is, and I spoke to Mr. Maytan about it, is we do have a resident that wanted to buy just the big half pipe. So if it doesn't go out as a whole, would he be able to possibly come in and help buy that at a reduced rate if another city or somebody doesn't pick up that?
Councilman Burgess, we'd like to do a one-time deal there for all of it. But
You don't have a big enough yard, he said.
Yeah, so just want to try to get it all rid of all in one shot.
Right.
Mayor?
Yes, please. Oh, wait, one more check.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Oh, just get ready.
I just had on the question, do we have an idea of what we're going to get, I guess, is for the auction? Do we have an idea what the value of this equipment might be?
Councilman Shelley, we're looking at, when we talk to people that sell them into that business, they're saying that we're probably looking at $20,000 what we purchase it, especially of the age. Remember when we got it, it was already 3 years old when we got it. from Coconut Creek, so it was already 3 years old already, so we're already losing a couple of years already, so now it's 5 years old. So we're hoping that we can get 20,000 and we'll give it back to the police.
And then my follow-up question to that is, as far as being able to get the basketball courts in, are we gonna have to wait until we get that 20,000, or can we fund those basketball courts right away so we can convert that empty space into a usable space?
Councilman Shelley, I have money in my impact fees, so I have the money to take care of it right away.
Perfect.
We're going to have a full court, and I'm also doing a half court for youth, so it'll be an adjustable court, basketball hoop for the kids. So we also have for the grown-ups, and then the kids will have the half court. So it'll be ramp, get her done right away.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could add to that, if the council is comfortable with the concept of the basketball court, or you're not comfortable, it'd be helpful to get a sense from you, if not at this meeting, at the next meeting, so we know whether to move forward with that as well.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Dennis, I would be very cautious in saying that we maybe could get 20,000 for this. I hope so. We all hope so. But I just don't want anybody to hold Dennis to the fire and say, you told me that we could probably get $20,000 and because we don't know. Do you agree? We agree on that? I'm taking care of you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. But, I did talk to people, but like I said, it's already 5 years old. I mean, they told us that's what we're probably looking at. But the thing is, when we first got it from Coconut Creek, they were kind of iffy when they put it back together. They said they don't think it can handle one more trip again. But I had it checked out one more time, but they said, it could handle one more trip. So that's why we're
and I would feel happy to get 50% value, but at the same time, hopefully we get more than that. But and I just want to say that I am in complete support of going ahead and moving forward with the basketball court, because I think it's needed.
Yes, ma'am. And I think the chief would be happy whatever he gets back, so.
I think the chief would be happy. Because it originally was supposed to go to Blakely, then they said Powell, and, I've got it here, I can prove it. So, and nowhere does it say anything about Harrisfield. So it's one of those things. But, and Mr. Burgess, it would take at least 3 part-time employees to staff that. So thank you for your support.
I'm sorry.
Mr.
Burgess.
Go ahead. Yeah. Since we're going on.
I
Appreciate it. I also want to say, for the record, I fully support this. I am glad to see this part go in. I'll tell you why. I know that when it first came about, the first thing that went off in my head was, are we setting ourselves up as a city and as a citizen, we're setting up to be hit in the pocket? The funny thing is that after we first got elected, we went to the Florida League of Cities of newly instituted elected officials, and there was a law firm there speaking about this, and he talked about the liabilities of the city. And the funny thing is, he brought up the example of a skate park being like the #1 problem that we have. And I was like, well, he didn't mention above ground, but he said skate park, and I said, he goes, but there's 2 kinds, and there's one worse than the other. And I think Councilman Shelley remembers that we looked at each other, and I was asked the question. I go, can you please tell me which was the worst one? He goes, the above ground. And I was like, great, we have one. And so it's with great joy that I see this going away. Thank you, Dennis, for all the hard work that you're trying to make the best of the situation. And again, we applaud you on the effort. And Chief, hopefully we'll try to make up something on that return. I know you lost some money, but... Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one more question, I guess, to Mr. Maytan. It's there, it's still there, and kids are still jumping the fence. And I know that the police, if they're called or one of your workers sees them, they run them off. It's still a liability to the city, so I guess my question, how much longer are we going to leave it together where it's a liability to the city? What's our plan for tear down or removal or what, now that it's put up for bid, do we have to leave it up there for however much longer so possible buyers can come see it, or what is, can we videotape it for them, or what is our plan there?
Councilman Burgess, we were going to leave it up because we would like to, when we do auction it, people are going to want to see it set up, so we kind of wanted to do that. We are trying our best to, eliminate the people that are in there the best we can with the part-timers that work there at night, and plus the police department helps us as much as they can. But right now we would like to do that, and once we sell it, we can go ahead and tear it apart and start.
Is a follow-up, is there anything that we can do to the equipment that wouldn't jeopardize what its value is, but which would enable it to be used.
No, Councilman Burgess,
On the
no.
wrong things or on the ramps, putting some kind of blocks on them or anything like that?
No, I mean, it's good the way it is right now. I mean, it won't get no damage or anything from, any, kids playing on it or anything. The thing is that, I don't want to put nothing on there to prevent a kid from doing it, then they'll hold us liable for that. So that's kind of stuff I don't want to stop them with. I'm just going to have to do the best I can to watch it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome, Ms. Burgess.
Mayor, okay, well then, I'm just going to go ahead and do it then, since I'm in charge now. Every time we dismantle, it lessens the value. So, Dennis, right, every time we dismantle, it makes the value less, correct?
Yes, Vice Mayor, that's what happens.
So, I understand where Mr. Burgess is coming from. I had a kind of a little thought. Could we possibly cover them with tarps and weight them down? Weight the tarps down?
We were just discussing it. The only thing I'm worried about is that they would probably go out there and cut it open and then tear the tarps off. And we'll be out of a tarp, or they'll steal them, or they'll, trash them, cut them up.
We have cameras there.
No, Vice Mayor.
I may have to just start parking my car over there, and I've been up since Sunday anyway. My mother's in the hospital. Just keep it going.
Okay. Chief was just saying he can do an extra watch, but if the council wants me to go ahead and dismantle, we'll dismantle, if that's what the discretion you want me to do. I mean, if you want me to go ahead and do that, we'll just put it at our other shop.
Let me ask you this, Chief, I'm putting you on the spot, and I apologize. Are there any crime incidents there in the past 30 days? That you know of? I don't know of any.
No.
Okay, so Dennis, when is this supposed to go on auction? If it's voted on, when will it go on auction?
Correct, after the council, it'll be started.
Immediately?
Yes, ma'am.
Immediately, and how long does it go on auction for?
Vice Mayor and Council, usually for 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month, depending on the item.
So are y'all okay with us taking our chances?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there this long already.
Councilman Williams, you haven't had it say
Yeah, I
much.
just want to vote, yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, so,
Might be for 30 minutes.
Madam Clerk, do we have a motion and a second? I think we do. Okay, all in favor? Aye. 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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. And the mayor left me with this when I was studying, so let me see here. I think we're on tab 11. City manager.
Do you want to do the motion in second?
I'll move it.
Okay. Second. All right.
Vice Mayor, the staff is recommending the mayor and council approve a change order in the amount of $1,686.36 to cover travel expenses for Open Systems International, Inc. personnel to install new software and migrate information from the old system to on the site. At the time of the amount of the travel expense being incurred were unknown, and so that's why this change order is being requested.
Any questions or comments? No? All right. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Item tab 12. Can I have a motion, please?
Move it.
Second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Staff report, please.
Vice Mayor, this is something that may be new, and that is that it's my opinion that anytime somebody looks to donate something to the city, that we come to you and ask for your permission. So this is probably the first of many items that you'll see. The electric utility would like to incorporate palms into their landscaping plan for the Lucy substation located on the northeast corner of Lucy Street and southwest 162 Avenue. There's no budgetary impact to this request, as these trees will be installed by city staff, although there is going to be some irrigation, correct? So I'm not sure that there's no plus. I think we should identify that up front. Dennis?
We'll be installing the irrigation, Parks and Recreation. There will be a cost to electric utility for the supplies, and we'll install them.
And so this item here is to request approval from the mayor and council to approve the donation of 50 Washingtonian and 50 Queen palms from David Baronis for the beautification of the Lucy substation property.
Question or comments from staff? From council?
Yes, question.
Mr. Williams?
What is the amount of time? Of course, we'll have to keep watering them. Is that correct? What's the amount of time of personnel we're looking to put into this?
The irrigation, as soon as this is passed through council, we'll go ahead and put it in. It's running through a pump, so it's a well. So we'll run it, we'll do it in zones for a while until they catch up, and then we'll just sprinkle like normal, probably once a day.
Okay. How much time do you think will be needed by your staff to plant all these trees or to facilitate the job?
We're, once it's passed again, we're going to meet with the person that's donating it, and we're going to mark it all out, and then we'll do the drilling as soon as we do the location. So I think we'll probably have all that done installed by a week.
All right. You didn't answer my question, but okay. I'll let that pass. Thank you.
I'm sorry, what your question was to how long it would take us to install them, correct?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Is the mayor in the house or just? Okay. Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I just would like to request an executive session on the case Michael Shahada versus City of Homestead to give you an update.
Okay, thank you. Motion to adjourn? Or any comments? I'm sorry, any comments before? No? Right. We have a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
And we have the CRA.
I don't know what you're going to do.
Don't go anywhere. I have glue.
You guys ready to go, or you have to change a few minutes to change? Thank you.